with one planting season, it's really important to get rid of those plants that have died, that are dying, or that have otherwise reached the end of their life cycle. This will help prevent the spread of pathogens and diseases, and will discourage those insects that like to feed on decaying organic matter. In my raised bed, I have some honeycut squash plants that are still growing and doing very well. I have some Malabar spinach that I'm going to be pulling soon, and some nasturtium plants, as well as a tomato plant that I planted very late in the season. I'll probably leave that for a little while longer to see if it produces any fruit. If not, I'll be pulling that in the next couple of weeks. My cucumber vines have reached the end of their life cycle, and so it's important to get rid of those right away and prep this garden bed for the next set of plantings. I am Kelly Pemberton from Prosperous, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to prepare your beds for succession planting in the fall season. Succession planting isn't difficult if you have the right knowledge and tools. So you'll need to know, of course, your first frost date if you're planting in the fall. You don't want to plant your crops just to have them die when the weather becomes too cold for them. You should also know how long it's going to take your plants to grow and at what intervals you should plant new seeds or transplant new starts in order to have a continuous harvest throughout the growing season. One of the tools that I like to use in my garden when I'm succession planting is compost. So it's really important to replenish the soil, because whatever you had planted in there before is going to have depleted the soil of nutrients. So if you try to plant something new without replenishing the nutrients, and you know, it's not easy to replenish those nutrients just by feeding your plants fertilizer. It's really important to replenish the soil and give the soil the structure that it needs to support healthy growth. So compost is something that I use to do that, and because this bed is a bed that I've used before, I'm just going to layer the compost on top rather than working it into the soil. Another tool that I like to use is cover crops, and I'm going to show you in just a minute what I'll be planting in here and what cover crops I'm going to be adding to this bed. Cover crops also help replenish the soil's nutrients, and depending on what you're planting as cover crops, they will help especially fix nitrogen in the soil. In my case, I'm planting some soil builder oats and peas, and that's the peas especially are going to help replenish nitrogen in the soil. That also means I'm going to have to be careful when fertilizing this, not to over fertilize with too much nitrogen. But anyway, that's a subject for another video. I'm going to be planting for the cool fall season some cauliflower. This will take up to 100 days from the time I plant seeds until the time it's ready for harvest. And so by that time, these honeycut squash you see here that I've lifted up off of the soil to help promote airflow and really to just get them off the ground and prevent them from being attacked by any pests. By the time the cauliflower is ready to harvest, this honeycut squash will have reached the end of its lifespan, and I'll have harvested the squash and pulled the plant from the bed to allow plenty of space for the cauliflower to grow. Cauliflower takes up a lot of space in the garden, so it's going to need as much space as I can give it to grow healthy. I'll also be planting some Asian greens. Chichimasai, this is one of my favorites. It has 4 times as much vitamin A as carrots. It grows easily and fast, so I'll be able to harvest these within 30 to 40 days. Now, I have some seedlings that I've planted indoors that are starting to grow, and I have some seedlings that I've already transplanted to another bed in my garden. So I'm going to have some more Chichimasai here, and these will be planted from seed. The other Asian green I'm planting in this bed is Komatsuna. This is honestly a green I've never tried before, so this will be my first time with this. It is both heat and frost tolerant, so hopefully this will do well in this bed. And I think this also has a pretty short harvest time, so I should be able to get some greens from this within 30 to 50 days as well. I have to look again at my chart. I don't quite remember what the upper limit is for harvesting komatsuna. Finally, I'm going to plant these soil builder peas and oats. So something that a lot of people don't know is you can plant cover crops at the same time you're planting your other crops, right? You don't have to wait until your planting season is completely finished. And this is especially important if you are a gardener or a farmer who grows year-round, as I do. So I'm going to interplant my cauliflower, Chichimasai, and Komatsuna with these soil builder peas and oats in order to replenish the soil while my crops are growing. I should add one really important thing to do when you're succession planting is make sure you've got all of the dead plants that are sitting on the ground in your bed off the ground so that they don't attract pests or diseases. So I just recently, about 2 to 3 months ago, laid down some compost in this bed. So I'm doing a little bit less than I normally would, but it's, a good idea to layer about 2 to 3 inches of compost in your bed before planting a new crop. So you can see I'm just layering the compost on top. Again, if your bed is a new bed, you haven't planted anything yet, you may want to work the compost into the soil. Also, if you haven't applied compost to your bed anytime recently, it's a good idea to wait about a week or so to let the nutrients work their way further down into the soil before you start planting it. So I've got my compost all laid out, and now I'm ready to begin planting. Sometimes it's easier to work without gloves when I'm planting. Now I'm just putting things down and not really making an effort to space them. I'll thin them out later after the plants have developed their first true sets of leaves. Planting more than I need also helps to ensure that I get enough plants to harvest, to make a good harvest. Plant the cauliflower on the other side of the bed, since that's going to need a lot of room to grow. And the cover crops, I'm going to plant just around the seeds I just planted. So here, towards the back of the bed. Don't know if you can see that. Here, in the middle of the two irrigation lines, I'll put some more. Peas and oats. And I'll do the same on the other side when I plant the cauliflower seeds. Here, cauliflower seeds, I'm going to be a little bit more judicious with planting these. Right? I won't plant quite as many as I did with the greens, but again, I want to make sure that these seeds germinate. These are actually pretty old seeds, so I'm not sure if they're going to come up or not. And just to be on the safe side, I'll probably germinate some indoors as well. Seeds are pretty tiny, so I'm just barely covering them over. And finally, some more of my soil builder oats on either side. Now, because cauliflower takes so long until harvest, I'll probably end up pulling at least some of these peas and oats before I'm ready to harvest the cauliflower. But of course, it's important to thin out any leaves that are hindering airflow. You want to always have good airflow to your plants in the garden. This also helps prevent diseases. So for the last steps, don't forget to water and label what you've just planted. If you are thinking, I'll just come back and label later, or I'll remember what I planted and where, trust me, that's probably not going to happen. So you want to make sure you note everything you've planted and where you've planted it as soon as you're done sowing your seeds or transplanting your transplants and then watering them. It'll save you a lot of headache in the end. If you want to know more, I've pasted some links to paid links as well as free links for succession planting guides and just planting guides, cool season planting guides. So hopefully they'll help you as you are tending your own cool season garden. If you like what you see in this video, please do subscribe. We have lots more content coming to help you grow a healthy and thriving garden in whatever season you may be gardening. Bye for now.